I'm Sudeshna from Mark Business Transformation. We, in our series of webcasts, Insights, that is Know Today and Lead Tomorrow, we are inviting various eminent leaders from the industry who will speak to us about people and change. Today, I'm delighted to have Mr. Amit Kaul with us. Mr. Amit heads the HR at Opal currently, and he's heading strategy, culture, and HR here at Opal. He's from ONGC, and he has worked in various areas of industrial relations, talent development, training and development, as well as employee engagement. With his 24 years of experience, he aims to build an inclusive work environment. People, helm of everything we do. And for Mr. Amit, his passion is to get the HR aligned to the business. And that's something like, at one shot, we can get employee engagement and business goals achieved. So with that, welcome, Mr. Amit.
Thank you, ma'am. It's a pleasure to be interacting with you on this medium, and look forward to have an engaging session with you here. So thank you for this. Thank you.
Okay, so going directly with something which is stemming from your passion, as we say sometimes, HR being a super function, but now trying to bring business, weaving various departments, the role of HR in organizations, in making organizations succeed. So how do you think HR manages that role?
See, by virtue, traditionally also, by virtue of the requirements of HR, all aspects of the talent, right, from sourcing to its development and retention. And HR, I would say, is one function that has to, by virtue of its basic role, interact with everyone, with all the departments, in order to devise the strategies for sourcing, for retaining, for developing, with the top management in order to understand the business plans, like what the plans are, and then devise strategies, HR strategies, whether it's performance management, whether it's sourcing and all. And then with the people also, various groups, individuals across functions. So HR is uniquely placed in an organization other than operations, marketing, finance, who are all working. There might be inter-department collaborations, but the essence of working for HR is interdepartmental. It is the only function which works with all the departments all the time. So it has, I won't say so much in the past, but gradually over the years, it has used that role to be the strategic partner, which is a very oft-repeated term. And that gives HR the advantage, to lead the strategy along with the top leader of the company. So that is something that the HR leaders and the HR team members should be increasingly aware of in the current context. They should understand their role apart from the routine things which they're doing every day. They have to be part of the strategic role. It will create a winning advantage for the organization, and it will create a winning advantage for the people of the organization where they are. So that is my understanding.
Great. What I'm hearing from you is, yes, there is a lot of transactional role which HR, traditionally may have played or playing, but the importance of it being able to weave the whole organization, it should take advantage of that and be in that driver position where it is a part of the strategy. So great to hear that from you. And do you think how important would be an organization culture to support it? Do you think all organizations support this kind of culture, or the culture? What is your take on culture of the organization?
Oh, again, culture is something which is very inherent and very deep-rooted within each and every organization. It is not something which is written on a paperboard on the walls of the company. Okay, you may have the value statements and everything, but culture is something that evolves over time. It is embedded in each and every company without you knowing it or not. And what shapes the culture? the way it is generally top driven, the way your leaders articulate the requirements of the company, how they walk the talk, what behaviors they practice, are they ethical, are they dynamic, so are they collaborative, are they communicative? So on these principles, and then gradually it percolates. The people understand, the people who are coming into the organization, they gradually get a feel what the culture of the company is about. The culture of many companies is written about. Many companies you hear, like a company is known for its very high ethical standards. Another company is known for very quick decision making. So the culture is something that defines a company. It's very important, but it is not, it is something. So what is the importance? It's very important for HR and the top leadership to consciously build a culture that really supports and promotes a very sustainable business. See, a business, it's very important. Many times we do, many people, many leaders tend to sacrifice long-term sustainability or short-term goals, short-term success, short-term wins.
Yes.
They're very important.
Yeah.
But now, in the current context, it's very important that we, as HR and the business leaders together, build a culture which promotes sustainable organization, which really involves the employees to contribute to the organization, to stay with the organization, and to promote a long-term win situation, win-win, I will say, for the employees, the organization, the customers, everyone. So that is the importance of culture. If you consciously try to build it, it's a great thing. Even if you don't try to build it, it will be formed. So it's better you try to build it.
That's a very nice way to put it. Yes, what leaders do is going to kind of viewed as what they are experiencing the organization. But yeah, if something is working, we should be very conscious at what really helps and what is kind of not helping anymore. So that's a very good way of looking at it. So as of now, you are leading the HR culture of a large petrochem project. We can talk about that, right? So from here, like how do you experience your role in this organization?
See, it's very important. It's been not too many months since I joined here, but you get to feel the culture gets depicted in the behaviors of the people, how we are transacting informally, formally, within departments, with intra departments and all. So when I came, there was an overwhelming sense of it was not the best of times for the company. Almost every day an employee was leaving the company. I mean, that was an average. So 30 people leaving, that was happening in the current fiscal. So it became very important to understand, especially for a newcomer like me, totally alien to the culture. So it was very important to understand. So that was done through communication through town hall meetings, through surveys, immediately surveys, and then one-on-one interactions, meeting with the key stakeholders, the focus group discussions and all. So to get an understanding, I'm just digressing a bit. I mean, just talking about the how I understood the pulse of the company in a short time. So when you understand, when you try to communicate, you get a feeling like, what are the issues? How are people behaving? How are people reacting? And what is the basic ways things get done here? That's what culture is about. I mean, the standard, accepted, unwritten norms, things are done. So you got to feel the predominant theme I got from here was that people were despondent. There were certain things macro outside the organization, like we all operate in an ecosystem. So the ecosystem currently was challenging for the company. But that, instead of making the employees resilient, was making them despondent. So of course we did several things. I'll talk about it later. But coming to the culture part, like to drive home the fact that the company the management is committed to the to the purpose with which the company has been set, the vision, the mission, and to its people. So that message had to be sent to the people. And that message we could communicate through initiatives, which I'd be talking about later. But we saw that the way people started behaving, I mean, it is not something that I'm saying, like, got so much of feedback that people come up and they say that we feel so much more motivated. We feel to really work to align ourselves with the purpose of the company and give it our best. And no matter what the outside environment is, we will stick it out. We will give our best, and we'll go with the company goals and objectives. So that is one thing where people, their perceptions change when they know that that management is empathetic. As I tell my colleagues in my HR team, like, give an ounce of empathy to your people, just hear them out, and they will give you back a ton of commitment and performance. So if you're willing to give that ear to the people, to understand them, they will get aligned and they will reinforce the culture that you want to establish in the company. So that alignment with the company, the top, the desired culture which the management wants, will come from the people. Ultimately, it comes right from all the levels. So it can be ensured if the management on its part shows that it's a caring management, it is an empathetic management, and it acts on their aspirations to make their experience better.
Yeah. I mean, what you are again, I'm just kind of trying to paraphrase it, is that like the commitment or the intent of the leaders were there, but we act like, we know, sometimes we get so much caught up in doing our daily stuff that doesn't get emphasized or re-emphasized as very articulated completely, like, this is what we are, this is what we expect, to get that engagement from the people, making them maybe making them feel that they are a part of it. So that's what kind of, the initiative which you all did is what I'm hearing. Yeah. So so in this organization, or in general, for for an organization to be future ready, what steps would you take in the sense of making the organization achieve its goals in terms of people? What would be, like, as a HR function, you would like to step up things?
See, this this trend of being future ready, that's always true. I mean, these days we hear a lot of it. That's very important to be future ready. It was always important to be future ready. So you got to know where you currently are, where you want to be in future. What are the problems? What are the challenges? What are the issues that are preventing you from attaining that desired state in the future? And yeah, there are a lot of forces in the environment which you can't predict. I mean, there is so much of volatility. Like you had in 2020, you had the COVID. Who had predicted? You had the big recession in the first decade of the new millennium. So how to be ready for the unexpected? That agility has to be there. So future can never be envisioned, but the ability right through from the top to the bottom to respond, to act in unison, to understand that the situations, some such extraordinary situations demand extraordinary efforts. So that understanding is very important in the company to be percolated from the top to the bottom. And if that understanding is there in all the groups, departments, people, units, dyads, triads, you're future ready. That's my take on this.
I think very well put. Yeah, I think we talk more future ready because nowadays the future is too current, meaning it, because the changes maybe are too frequent as or enterprise wide felt. So I guess the terminology has come into be future ready, but it is something very imminent now we can see. And how important do you think leaders' role is in this? How important is the leadership should in building a good leadership team in an organization to get that going?
See, leadership is the most important thing. An organization with a good leadership will always be the winning organization. That's, I mean, there just cannot be any two issues about that. So we all talk about leadership styles. I mean, what leadership style you should be, whether you're authoritative, whether you're pace setting, whether you're participative, whether you're democratic, whether you're coercive. So different situations, different, I mean, making a cricket simile or a metaphor, like different pitches, your approaches have to change. So in different times, but the leader has to have the foresight, to understand what approach is required in a given situation. And one situation doesn't present itself at a given time. At a given time, various units may be facing different situations. So to deal with the different people under him in different ways, that is the essence, that is the requirement of the new age leader. I mean, he has to understand, like, in this situation, with this sort of people, whether they're customers, whether they're stakeholders, whether they're your own employees, this is my behavior. I have to be coercive. Something important, drastic needs to be done. So it is to be my way or the highway. But in other ways, like if you want a longer, a very sustainable thing to be happening, so you've got to be participative, take in the views. If you have the luxury of time, build consensus and go ahead. And you have to have some attributes of yourself. I mean, if situations demand that you just articulate your vision and let the people do the work, then be the authoritarian leader. Similarly, pace setting, all that. I mean, these terms which have been defined, they really need to be practiced. And if they're practiced in the correct measure, that's the job of the leader, to understand situations and act accordingly. And of course, basic things, vision, inspiring, being humble, being empathetic, all these are traits, attributes, or whatever you call that, they have to be there. But the approaches that I've talked about, they are very, very much required.
So when we talk about an organization's vision, mission, we talk about overtly we see results, we overtly see where they want to go in the next. But do you think the vision mission can be without the people? So how important it is to take the people along? It is very important that the O's vision and mission are achieved through people. So in that respect, in terms of leadership, do you see the change of making, like, people attributes? Because some years back we used to see send them to training happened when a customer complaint happens, not before that. You do not realize the importance of developing people before that. When a leader goes and nobody's there, and then people are thinking of succession planning. But what I'm trying to see is developing people, how important it is to leadership currently. Do they find a place in the vision mission?
Yes, it's very important. No organization can sustain or excel without an eye for people development. That's very important and has to be done. I mean, it need not be stated by me or you. It's a known fact. It has to be accepted, adopted. And one thing you made at the start of this kind of conversation was that the role of people in creating the vision. It's very important. Like, if a vision is thrust from the top, basically it will not even be understood. It will only be accepted and adopted, and they being part of to drive it. But if it is co-created, if the people understand what the bosses are saying, what the top leadership is saying, if they understand, so at the time of creating a vision, if that buy-in happens at that very time, if such vision, if this is the way a vision is created, my personal experience of organizations with which I have worked, with which I have seen from close quarters, those are the organizations that they beat the competition and they survive and they thrive in the long run. So a vision co-created, co-developed with the people, that is the vision that sustains and produces the results. And that is a vision which is attained.
Okay. And like from there, I would say, what are the key challenges you see of leaders today, which you feel as HR, you should be kind of, you have a role in kind of making them, cope up with those challenges?
Say this has been, the times are getting challenging and tougher by the day, like in terms of, if we look at the changes in the macro level, the geopolitics and all, they're so tectonic you've never seen. And then black swan events would come like a COVID came. So people also who form a key component of the organization, like issues like new generations, new aspirations, remote working, and quiet quitting, and all these things that we heard. So these are challenges that the leaders are facing. And HR, as I said earlier, HR has to, it's not that something comes naturally to you, you have to make an effort. So HR has to understand the business, has to understand, it's very important. Like you have to, HR cannot be seated and doing just the conventional roles training and sitting in, cocoons, doing the recruitment, doing the training. They have to understand, even the people at the bottom of my team has to understand the connect, has to see the line of sight between what the company aspires and what the activity which he finds, routine, what value that activity is adding to the goals of the organization. So that is the role of HR head, to make his people first in the HR department realize like what the line of sight is. Similarly, make the top leadership, whether the people are heading the finance function, the marketing function, make them understand the bigger picture, the importance of collaboration, and work out measures to cope up with the uncertainty and the volatility. So that is the role of HR. It is again very collaborative, but then first you have to get involved in the scheme of things, understand business, because HR naturally is not positioned to understand the business. You have to make an effort to understand the business, the operations, how the marketing team is working, what the finances are, what the operations are, what are the challenges at the plant level, the shop floor level. So that understanding is very important. Then only you can, tell your leaders, hey, you got to do this. First, understand to be understood. That's very important. So it's a process. HR has to do it, and that needs to be done.
I guess, yes, then they can really add value and partner with business. Nowadays, we see a lot of quick fixes being put. So like you had this retention challenge. We are seeing other organizations are also having retention challenges or, people challenges as such. What trend we usually see are quick fixes, like, small things like, do some training, make send them to some kind of a motivation workshop or something like that. But do you think that, that kind of, what are the things you would like to do on a sustainable basis for any challenge, not only retention as such, but you can pick up any challenge and say, what are the ways and means which you would address it to be a little long-term and sustainable?
You're very right. Like quick fixes are required in certain situations. The long-term approach is the best approach. It's the sustainable approach. But there are times, at the times of crisis, you have to apply the bandwidth. So that's very important. Like here, as I told you, when I joined here, people, leaving the door every day, one person leaving the door in a company of 900 odd, like in a matter of a couple of years, the company the shelf would be empty. So you have to understand what is required and give that quick fix. In our case, specific to Opal here, we did a quick, like within a week of my joining, we did a pulse survey. It was a direct question that we asked, like, what is the reason you think your colleagues are leaving? And of course we knew it, but we just wanted that endorsement. So the endorsement that we got is that it's the low compensation that's there compared to the market. So that's why people are leaving. So with that, armed with that knowledge, I mean, we know here currently the financials of the company are a bit tight, they're challenging. Any organization can go through that. So we could convince our board to give an interim relief to our people, and ad hoc relief of maybe certain percentage of the CTC. And that has really worked wonders. Like, believe you me, like the proposal had gone to the board several times, but that conviction maybe would have been lacking. We could convince the board. Ultimately, the board has the best interest of the company in mind. So that conviction is required on the part of HR to make the board appreciate why a quick fix is required. In our case, we were successful, and we immediately communicated and implemented the decision for an ad hoc relief. And it has worked wonders besides improving the morale, motivation. But what has, in terms of tangibles, what we've got, like 30 people leaving every day in the month of September, no one has left. 6 people have taken their resignations back. So that is the tangible. So that is something that makes you feel very content, satisfied. Yes, the band-aid that you applied is very important. Otherwise, the blood would have flown at a rate which would have been very difficult to sustain later. But coming to the broader picture, yes, quick fixes are required, but those are required in crisis, in situations where you have to act fast and do it and move ahead. But you cannot be complacent every day, every week, every month. Please understand the environment where your employees are. Try to understand your employees, try to understand their aspirations. And as you said, don't give them quick fixes like sending them to a training. Make them confident that the company cares for them, for their career growth, that the performance management is going to be objective, that the perks, the benefits are going to be. I see a lot of heartburn in people if there is no internal equity. Forget the external comparison. If they see people doing similar roles, getting different pay, so that is a big turn off for the employees. So create that environment, perform those functions which make the employees believe, yes, the management, the HR believes in equity, whether it is assessing your performance, whether it is advancing your career, whether it is giving you learning opportunities, or whether it is compensation. Everywhere the organization is equitable, it's fair, it's just. So that is the long-term feeling, that is the long-term mission with which HR needs to work.
Yeah, I hope everybody thought like you. I mean, sometimes we just kind of, in the learning business, we are kind of we don't see this, very often, that, like the quick fixes sometimes, hey, because the wins are big, so let's move on. And that happens, but you need to kind of, after that, the band-aid, meaning that the wound has to be completely.
Not to rest on that, to understand that it is only the long-term matters. But sometimes, yes, quick fixes need to be.
Absolutely. So coming to Amit now, like, what has been your biggest learning or a wow moment, if we say, like, has been in your life, which you consider that learning kind of helped you through, or whatever you would like to share?
Personally, like I was working with ONGC, and right now I'm with the joint venture company of ONGC. So I've been personally very committed to work, and I think that a wow moment doesn't happen on a particular day. I mean, it's not a big bash event. Life is not a big bash event, and a wow moment will come with an unknown top-rated celebrity and gate crashing the party and performing there. No, I think wow moments, as I said, currently, what I'm going through, like seeing the people, seeing the response, seeing the happiness of the people, which is so genuine, and it is so honest when they interact with you with a hope, with a purpose, that they have so much faith on the HR leader of the company. So honestly, that is a wow moment for me. Currently, I am living through that wow moment when I see that my people are believing so much in the HR team, are believing so much in the leadership that we have given. So that is something. And when you see so much of hope, trust, and faith in you as for the role that you're performing, I tell you, there can be nothing more satisfying and more fulfilling than that. So I'm living a wow moment every day.
Cool. I mean, that's like, and you can see the needle move. I mean, you're able to do things which is making the needle move, and it's good to see those measures and so those metrics to show that, yeah, whatever we are doing is having an impact on the people. So, then what according to you would be, you would say, the 5 biggest capabilities? I'm not adding a number, the biggest capability or asset in today's organizations in terms of mindset of any organization, irrespective of any sector, I would say. But today's leaders to succeed, today's organizations to succeed, what are the biggest capabilities they should be having?
I would say, sorry, I'd say in the current scenario, leaders should have an uncanny ability to envision the future, to envision uh, what is going to happen. I mean, they have to be almost like clairvoyants. They have to have that supernatural ability. What's going to happen? I mean, that intuition has to be there. That is very important for a leader to succeed. And then, of course, a decision making which is very objective, which is firm, and which is implementable. I mean, if you take a decision and you're not able to see it through, so that is very important. So, an uncanny ability to envision, take the decision, and lead the change, lead your people, be with the people. If you're not a people's leader, I tell you, I mean, you just cannot operate in a vacuum. You can't be seated in an ivory tower if you're not meeting the people, making them understand what you see, what you feel is the best for the company. And in fact, as I said, co-creating that actions which are required. So you have to be a people's man, people's woman, whatever you say. As a leader, you have to be a people's leader. That is also very important too. And then have when you've done that, also it's very important to reward your people, to celebrate wins. If you don't make people realize that something great for the company is something great for them also. So that is very important. I mean, if you just walk away, okay, fine, thank you, you've done it. No, you have to elevate the people. You have to bring them to the platform where they understand that they gave something which they were not giving earlier. So that elevation of people, that reward, recognition in unconventional measure has to be done. So these are the 4 things I see. You asked for 5, I gave only 4.
It's fine. I think you covered
Yeah.
any 5 will be covered here. Like, I'm in all smiles talking to you, because like this kind of vision and for an organization. So in terms of an organization, how do you think Opal is different from the other conventional petrochem sector?
No, in terms of technology, as I said, like the technology that comes to Opal is a dual feed cracker unit. Like the feed is both liquid and gaseous, so it's very technologically advanced, and it's a new company relatively. Of course, many of the players in the petchem sector are new. It's a single plant company, and it's as I said, the plant, the technology being used, the product that's coming out from here is perhaps it's universally acknowledged. It's the best product that we get in the country. It's being exported a bit as well. So the plant technology, the product, this is all world class. But what I understand in my short stint in Opal, what I did not even see in my parent company, the ONGC, I see a unique, unimaginable attachment of the people to their company, because the plant has been commissioned just for 5-6 years back. So that uniqueness, I mean, I have met in my career a lot of people across organizations. But here, even when people were leaving, I mean, even then, you could feel it. It was so palpable. They were genuinely sad. That ownership attachment, I am yet to understand. I'm still understanding where does it stem from. So that's
Yeah.
amazing how it has been built into the culture and how it has been weaved into the culture of Opal and how the people are so impacted. The people here I find are amazing. So much of involvement, commitment to the cause of the organization. Well, so I see a very bright future for Opal. I mean, if you have people like this who really feel for the organization, the task of the leaders becomes that much more easier.
Okay. So as a HR leader, what would you like to share you're doing or did, which would be best practices to others, which would be something which others can, see their lead the tomorrow with?
You know, I'm sure all the HR leaders all across and around are doing great. And but as an HR leader here, I would say it's very important to communicate with your people, whether it is your stakeholders, your internal, external stakeholders. Try to build a network. Try to collaborate with your top management, with your whether it's right up to the board. Try to have a connect with the people, whether it is the lowest employee at the shop floor level who's working, a blue collar worker, whether it is the board, whether it is your colleagues, your peers. Be totally seamless, humble. That's very important. Don't have that air or acquire that air that I'm on a pedestal. I understand things better, or I can give you better. No, you are placed in an organization. Be thankful that you're placed in an organization to impact the organization in a real important way. So it's very important to communicate. That's very important. Communication is the key. Second, again, as I said, for the leaders, like be able to understand what's coming 2 months down the line, 4 months down the line. Just have that vision foresight to understand what's coming and be prepared for it. Before it comes, be prepared for what is coming. That's very important.
Right.
And rest, I would say, yeah, be honest, upright, ethical. I mean, personally, I have viewed integrity and ethical behavior as the cornerstone of my professional journey. So always believe in that and always stand by it. And it's very important as an HR leader, you to walk the talk. You have to be fair. You have to be equitable. I mean, you can't be speaking something and doing something else. That's very important. So walking the talk, HR should be doing it. I mean, others, they can afford to be a bit lax on it, but for HR, you have to do it.
I agree. I mean, HR leader walking the talk and showing everybody, and I think you are doing a wonderful job here, and it's so good to hear all these things from you.